part 18, from his partner to his prey. So at this point, my truck is on fire, and I have decided that, I'm just going to stay calm and, go out here and see what's going on. So I go outside and I see my truck just burning. All my stuff inside on fire. The kids' booster seats. I'm thinking about everything that's inside, And my neighbor's like, "What you gonna do? We already called the fire department. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Like, who did this?" And I was like, I got a feeling I know who did it, but if this is happening, I said that means that God got something more in store for me, something even better. And she looked at me like, "Are you okay? Like, your truck on fire? What are you talking about?" So, I was extremely calm, considering the situation. She couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it, I don't think either. I was shocked, more so that my truck was on fire. And that, it would get to that lengths, he would go to those lengths, you know what I'm saying, to, not have to pay the bill for it. So I was hurt even more. I was just like, okay, now I gotta, he knew I didn't have a job. I didn't have no way of, getting no car or nothing like that. So, the judge, when the courts found out what happened, because of course the insurance company got involved, the fire department was involved, the police department was involved, everybody was involved, because by this point everybody in law enforcement in the city that we live in is familiar with this case. Okay, so this is not necessarily a high profile case, but it was something that was known around the city. I know that because I got stopped after this, a few years after this. And the cop said, "Oh, I remember this case. Wait a minute." So, yeah. But he's told that since I don't have a vehicle, he said he wouldn't cooperate with the insurance company for them to total it out. So it could even be, processed. A claim could be processed for it. He wouldn't even do that. So he was just very, very just evil, like vindictive, and he always had a plan. It was like he was always out to get me after we decided to split. So we we had to go to the police station and meet up because he had to give me his car since the truck was set on fire. He was pissed. He was highly pissed, heavily pissed, overly pissed. He didn't like, the fact that he had to give up his vehicle. So, that the courts was like, "Well, she has the kids. You don't. And we're not giving you the kids based on your actions. Like, there's a restraining order already, against you because of how you've been acting. So we're definitely not going to give you the kids just because you have the income. We're going to just take your income and give it to her for what she needs for these kids." And he didn't really like that too much. He hated it. He was pissed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't excuse this conditioner. I can't even say how pissed he was. He was very angry. I think angry is a better, word for it. He was livid. That's a good one. He was livid. And he had to give up the car, and one of my good friends at the time was there, and they actually took him home. Him and his wife came down, to support me in the transaction, and they had met him and had been at our house, because our house was the entertainment house, and they had been to our house before, and so they were familiar with what was going on. Of course, that's why they came down, because like I said, they was coming down to support me. And so they ended up taking him home after he gave up the car. So once he got home, I guess he was so upset with me that he decided to display his anger through setting a picture of he and I on fire inside of a grill, and said, it read, "Death to Dishonor." That's what the caption read. And we found that after the truck had been set on fire. The post was made before the truck was set on fire. And even though we had that information and we took that to the police and the fire department, they said they didn't have enough to determine that he was involved. So nothing ever happened to him on that. He was able to get away with it. So once we got there, then we were going through the process of getting a court date, figuring out when the divorce was going to be final, what else was going to be added in this case, what else was he going to do, after the truck was set on fire. The law enforcement agencies, the officers and the firefighters suggested that they move me from the second floor apartment to a first floor apartment so that, he no longer knows exactly where I live. The gate was broken at the apartment complex at the time, and there were no cameras. So that was some other things that, aided in him not being found to be involved. I believe that I was being followed at some points, because that's the only way that he would have known where I lived, because my information was not released to him, and it was not given to anybody when I moved. So there was no way that he would have known where I was living at without, actually following me to my apartment and seeing, where I stay. And just riding around me. You can ride around in the complex and find the truck. It's not like I had a garage in the apartment complex or nothing. So, I moved downstairs, and we kind of just tried to lay low. At that point, I was terrified because, like I said, I figured out that somebody had been following me. And that was an extremely creepy feeling. And so, after my lease was up there, I wanted to move somewhere else because I didn't feel safe anymore. And we tried going to a shelter. When we moved, I couldn't take the big dog. I could only take the little dog, so I had to leave the big dog behind. So the little dog was with us, and when we went to the shelter, they told us we couldn't bring her. So, I was like, okay, I can't do this. I got to figure out something else.